Hi everyone, this is Anitha from St.Joseph's College of Arts and Science, Autonomous Cuddalore. So today in this video we are going to see about the topic conduction of nerve impulse. So before we go to the topic, we just see what is meant by nerve impulse. So nerve impulse is defined as an electrochemical change occurring in the membrane of nerve fiber when the nerve is stimulated. So it is said to be nerve impulse. So in case of human, so there are four different types of impulse transmission takes place. So first one is conduction of impulse through non-myelinated neuron. Second one is conduction of impulse through myelinated neuron. And third one is synaptic transmission. And fourth one is neuromuscular junction. So in this, first we are going to see about conduction of impulse through non-myelinated neuron. So non-myelinated neuron means when an axon is not covered by a myelin sheath, then it is said to be non-myelinated neuron. So in case of non-myelinated neuron, the impulse is transmitted with the help of the sodium-potassium pump. So before we go to the topic, we just see the structure of a nerve fiber. So when you speak about the structure of nerve fiber, it will be tube-like structure, and inner it contain axoplasm, and it will be covered by the plasma membrane, and outer is extracellular fluid. And in case of non-myelinated neuron, there are two states. One is said to be resting state, another is said to be excited state. So in case of resting state, the plasma membrane will be more permeable to potassium when compared to the sodium. So what will happen is outer it will be positive and inner it will be negative. So second state is excited state, that is when a nerve fiber is stimulated. So there will be exchange of ions takes place, that is plasma membrane will be more permeable to sodium when compared to the potassium. So in this state what will happen is there will be exchange of charges takes place at single point, that is outer it will be negative and inner it will be positive. So from the single point the impulse will be transmitted. So such state is said to be depolarization or depolarized state, and that state it will be started moving little by little throughout the nerve fiber. So this will be in the form of wave, so it is said to be depolarized wave. So once the wave moves towards the nerve fiber, again the nerve fiber come back to the original state, so that is said to be repolarization or repolarized state. So during this depolarization, what will happen is there will be different in charges outside the and inside the membrane. So difference in potential between two areas is called as action potential. So this is how the impulse transmission will be takes place in case of the non-myelinated neuron. So second one is conduction of impulse through myelinated neuron. So myelinated neuron means when an axon is covered by a myelin sheath is said to be myelinated neuron. So due to the presence of myelin sheath, the nerve fiber it will act as an insulator. So there won't be any impulse transmission that will be takes place inside the nerve fiber. The impulse transmission will be takes place outside the nerve fiber. That is, impulse will be transmitted from one node to another node. So it will be jump from one node to another node. So such type of transmission is said to be saltatory propagation. And one more important regarding the myelinated neuron is this type of impulse transmission, it will be 20 times faster than that of the non-myelinated nerve fiber. Third one is synaptic transmission. So synaptic transmission means transmission of impulse between two neurons. So that is junction between two neurons is called as synapse. So there are three types of synapse. First one is axosomatic, second one is axodendritic, and third one is axo-axonic. So next one is mechanism of synaptic transmission. So here there are two types of neuron will be involved. One is said to be presynaptic neuron and another is said to be postsynaptic neuron. So presynaptic neuron means, so one is said to be presynaptic neuron, another is said to be postsynaptic neuron. So in case of presynaptic neuron, during the impulse transmission, what will happen is it will be expanded to form bulge-like structure. So that is said to be synaptic knob. So inner to the synaptic knob, it contains many round-like vesicles. That is said to be synaptic vesicles. And apart from that, it also contains mitochondria. So this is about presynaptic neuron. And second one is postsynaptic neuron. Postsynaptic neuron at the above, it contains many receptors. The space between presynaptic neuron and postsynaptic neuron is said to be synaptic cleft. So during synaptic transmission, what will happen is when the impulse reaches the presynaptic neuron, there will be rupturing of vesicles. So once the vesicle rupture, there will be release of acetylcholine from the vesicles. So this acetylcholine, it will move towards the postsynaptic neuron and it goes and binds to the receptor present in the postsynaptic neuron to form chemoreceptor complex, that is acetylcholine chemoreceptor complex. So once this complex is formed, the depolarization takes place in the membrane. So this induces transmission of impulse. So this is how the impulse transmission that will be takes place in case of synapse. And last one is neuromuscular junction. So neuromuscular junction means an impulse transmission takes place between neuron and the muscles. So there are two parts, one is neuron, another one is muscles. So during this neuromuscular junction, what will happen is the axon will loses its myelin sheath and it will divide into many fibers. And each fibers it will be bulged to form soul food. And this soul food contain many mitochondria and it also contain vesicles. And in case of muscles, it will be covered by a membrane called sarcolemma and it contains many folder-like structures. So that is said to be motor end plate. So during neuromuscular junction, what will happen is when the impulse reaches the neuron, so there will be release of calcium ion and this calcium ion induces the rupturing of vesicles and there will be release of neurotransmitter, that is acetylcholine. So once acetylcholine is released, it moves towards the muscles and it binds to the receptor present in the motor end plate. So this binding of acetylcholine and receptor to form acetylcholine chemoreceptor complex. So once this complex is formed, it induces depolarization in the membrane of muscles. So this leads to impulse transmission. So this is how the impulse transmission takes place in the neuromuscular junction. So these are all four different ways through which conduction of impulse takes place. So thank you.